Hey everybody, welcome. I know that I normally put a teaser reel. I know I do a lot of stuff at the beginning of the show, but unfortunately this time I kind of lost track of time and we're starting just a few minutes late. I'm not sure if anyone's watching live yet, but we'll get this spammed out and get some people here. I do have Kita backstage, and we'll just bring her up here in just 1 minute, and we'll get this started. And there's Kita right there.
Hi.
So give me 1 second while I kind of fell down because we were doing all the sound check stuff and everything. I did not um, spam the stream as I should, so I'm going to go do that right now. If you want to entertain everybody and just talk a little bit about yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll give you a heads up. In about 20 minutes, my dog is going to start barking because my daughter is going to be coming home from school. So hopefully you can entertain everybody as I mute myself when that happens.
Absolutely, we'll do that.
So yeah, I'm Kita Busse. I'm kind of an unusual story because I came into the shooting sports as a coach as opposed to a shooter. I did eventually learn how to shoot, but I came from a background of science and nursing, so I understood how body mechanics work and just kind of applied that to what I learned. And as I learned about hip factor, you have to understand at this time the sport was in a very different place. This was 2010. So they were still kind of figuring out how to move with a gun in your hand and do it safely. And there'd be a lot of really fast shooting and then kind of moseying between positions and not really understanding how to hold the gun so you could move your body in an efficient way. And I just kind of experimented on some of the top shooters in the world until we figured out what worked, what didn't matter either way. And once my research was done, I wrote the book Smart Move, Economy of Motion for the Shooting Sports, right behind me here. And if you want a copy of that, email 180firearmstraining@gmail.com. I'd rather send you a personalized copy than give Amazon a cut. Get rid of those guys.
Sure.
I also teach classes all over the world on movement and vision training. I have national champions in at least 10 different countries around the world, including world champions. So yes, coming in as a coach, not having ever shot a match is pretty weird. Every other sport on the planet has coaches, and that's what I do.
So that's interesting because we have a lot of coaching and training as far as operating the handgun or a rifle or whatever, running drills, and you can go run around all you want to on a range somewhere, or even there are now lots of places that have terrain ranges and stages where you could go and train, but actual movement and stage planning and some of the other aspects seem to be kind of forgotten a lot of times. I personally read Brian Enos's book Beyond Practical Shooting. It's a really great book as well. And or no, pardon me, Practical Shooting Beyond the Fundamentals, I think is the title. It doesn't matter, whatever the title is. It's a great book because it resonated with me because it's kind of zen, right? It's kind of got this, one of the things I really liked was he was like, just go to your range with your bays and don't even put up a target. Just shoot dirt clods from the hip. Just don't aim. Just get your point. Just understand where you're pointing the gun, right? And now he's speaking about mostly for the old IPSC Steel Challenge and some of the other, which were less movement involved, and so lots of training exists for how to hit targets, but the movement aspect of it, I think, has been left behind. And so I'm really interested to get into that because we weren't able to get into that on the last time you were here. I know some of my audience is going to remember that we had Kita and Steve Anderson here, and Steve he's a personality, and he spoke 90% and you spoke 8%, maybe.
The guys are saying your volume's low.
Oh, my volume's low? Why?
Yeah.
Am I okay. That's odd. Can I turn my volume up a bit? Why is my volume low? Let's check into this.
Is mine okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfect.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I feel like movement doesn't matter a whole lot if you can't hit the target.
right,
So
right.
the fundamentals definitely come first.
That is true. Let's see. Why is my I should not be low, but let me everything looks good. Let me give me one second. It is entirely possible that I'm having something. Just mic check really quick. Everybody hear me okay?
That's sounding better.
Yeah, my levels look good, but um, I have a complicated setup, so um, unfortunately, it can mess me up quite easily. Charles, how am I now? World Radio, how am I now? I'm a bit low, but Kita's loud and clear. I should not be low. That's just the wrong. I turned my mic way up last night though, so maybe I went too far.
Well, while you're figuring that out, I will share something about
Yeah, go ahead.
PCC. When PCC was a provisional division and nobody really knew what to do with it yet.
Mm-hmm.
PCC is not in the Smart Move book, by the way, because it didn't exist yet as a division.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was provisional, I took the top PCC shooters in the country out to the desert for 3 days and just had them do a bunch of different stuff until we figured out what worked. And now that is a part of my classes. So if you're coming to my class, I will teach you separate movement for PCC because it is different. And people think you're cheating because you're bringing a rifle to a pistol match, but it has its own challenges. And if you have someone really good at designing stages with different challenges for different things, it will be just as challenging to shoot a PCC as a pistol, just in different ways, getting around different walls and awkward positions, having to switch shoulders for leans and things like that the pistol shooters don't really have to worry about.
So let me so obviously there's a lot of different types of shooters, and you're having to work with people that are very athletic and train and actually go to the gym and things like that, and you've got to work with people who have sedentary jobs. Do you, when you're doing a class, and I don't know how many people you have in your class, probably 10 or 20, I would imagine. How
No.
No, how do you do that? How do
Because
you
my
keep
class is so dynamic, I can't have 20 guys on a line because we're all moving around. So I will only take 8 shooters in a class.
8 shooters in a class? Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have 8 in a class, and they're usually pretty close to the same skill level. You know, I'll do classes where it's only GMs. I'll do classes where it's only people in a wheelchair or with a prosthetic. But I'll welcome anybody, and everyone's going to get their own individualized teaching. It's going to be, I'm going to give person A completely different teaching than person B. It depends on what you've got going on.
That's very interesting. Okay. So do you do it? So when you okay, let's start at the beginning. So let's just say that you're setting up to come to Tennessee to do a class at my local range. What does it look like from your side? Setting it up, are you, how do you do that? What do you? I mean, without
The
giving me
range
like a ton
contacts
of
me and asks me to come out. I tell them my requirements for equipment and what I need for the bays, all of that stuff. I typically will stay with a host family because I only have 8 students in order to keep it accessible to everyone, in order to keep it cost effective. I typically will stay with a host family because I only have 8 students.
Right.
Then I'll make a post somewhere that I have the class coming up. The range will advertise it. People start emailing me, and I find out what level they're at in their shooting, what they have going on.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a new shooter, I'll send them to someone else like Tim Herron, Steve Anderson, Sam Callahan, Andy Dang. I have
Okay.
other people to send those people to first before I arrive, and then they can hopefully get them to a place where they're moving around safely with a gun. I want people to have match experience before they come to my class because we are moving around with a gun in our hands. I'm not teaching trigger control and grip and fundamentals like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
strictly teaching movement and vision.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a 2-day class, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We take a little lunch break. And I have 2 bays. So I'm on one bay, and then I pair everybody up and send people to the other bay. I show them the drill on the other bay, and they are running each other through it and kind of trying to give them feedback using the teach back technique. So this is their chance to kind of work through it on their own before or after they come to me and I give them my feedback.
Okay. All right. So let's say that. So it would seem like then that you're vetting these shooters, and so you would be able to say, okay, I'm going to have mostly, um, uh, you know, B or A class shooters in this group,
Right.
and so they're going to need. So then you can kind of plan your curriculum around what they need versus
It's
if it was going to be masters and people who are trying to make grandmaster.
for the movement class, Smart Move. My curriculum doesn't really change. It's my feedback that changes.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
So everyone needs to know these particular movements. It's just that the more experienced you are, the more minute the feedback becomes. The
Okay.
smaller the details get, the smaller the mistakes are.
Okay. So um what do you think is the number one thing across all levels that people tend to just not do very well that you need that and where they need a lot of good feedback on?
Uh, the one of the biggest mistakes I see in movement is taking really big steps. People think they're covering more ground if they take big steps.
I do that. I do
So
that.
the way I explain it is it's kind of like the wheels on a race car, they're really wide.
Yeah.
So
A lot of grip.
they have more surface area, more traction, spending less time speeding up and slowing down, more time at maximum speed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't increase the surface area of our feet, but we can increase the frequency of contacts we're making with the ground. It's an equal and opposite force.
Sure.
So the more times you push off on the ground, the more times it can push back on you. And if you imagine standing with your feet really, really far apart,
Mm-hmm.
1 foot ahead of you and 1 foot behind you,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be kind of tipping side to side. It's not a steady base to shoot from. Also, when you're in that position with your feet so far apart, now your muscles are elongated. They're at full stretch. They're not coiled, ready to spring. So you can't push off with as much force.
That's interesting. I'm 100% guilty of when I move from one position to the other, depending on how far that run is, I gazelle that. I mean, I'm like longest possible stretch I can make.
So there is an exception, and that's when you reach a flat out sprint, which is really rare in USPSA and IPSC. You see it a lot in 3-gun.
That's the main
Yeah,
difference.
if you're in a
3-gun
flat out
and
sprint,
USPSA.
totally fine. But in USPSA, we're typically speeding up, slowing down, moving around obstacles. We're very rarely in a flat out sprint.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's interesting because my background is in racing, and I understand all of the. I mean, I really understand the dynamics of movement when
Yeah.
it comes to a machine, right? And how to make things work better. So I mean, that does make sense to me that if I were, especially if I were if I were lightly loaded, right? Like, so when I think about it and I contrast it, like with 3-gun, I've got well, sometimes I have physically 3 guns on me, plus
Right.
the ammo, plus the belt gear, plus whatever else, that I happen to have in my pockets or whatever. And so the amount of weight that I'm carrying affects how I move as well. And then when I go shoot, because I only shoot USPSA for practice, I'll be 100% on that. And when I go shoot a one gun match, it feels so different.
Hmm.
It's so different, um, and I feel really slow during like a USPSA match or something like that. I literally I just feel the movement can be fine, and it can be smooth and all that, but I feel really really slow. So that's um, an interesting thing to think about. Maybe it's just because I should I don't know. That's something to think about. I'll think about that. That's a good point.
Well, the
More
more mass
contact.
you have on you, the more smaller steps it's going to take you to accelerate.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
The less mass you have, the less little steps it'll take to accelerate.
yeah,
And then sometimes, let's say you do reach full acceleration, but now you're in a place where you're supposed to be shooting, and then we
yeah. You got to
overrun the
stop.
position, or we're not coming
Guilty.
in low and smooth.
Guilty. So okay, and it's a combination of things where um, you would you've got to have that burst of acceleration, and then you have to stop, and you may have to turn. Um, Now, I know in USPSA there's kind of almost um, a lot like a I don't know how to put this, but they just don't like to shoot on the move. They would rather move to a position, get planted, and shoot than shoot on the move. And I understand that. I've heard all the arguments for that. But isn't is shooting on the move something that needs to be worked on? Is that part of the movement course, or how does that? How do
It
you see that
is
going?
part of the course, yes. So there is a progression based on skill level and experience. So
Mhm.
yeah, when you first start shooting USPSA, most people are just going to post up, shoot stuff. Now we're going to move. Now we're going to post up, shoot stuff. It's a lot of stop and go, stop and go, stop and go.
Okay.
But that's kind of just where everybody starts.
So you've been doing this a while now. I've been actually wanting to ask this question, and you are the perfect person. It seems like some of the people who just look like they're walking the stage will end up with very low times, and people that are absolutely burning 800 calories and just flailing around and explosive movement from position to position seem to have the worst stage times. And I personally have been guilty of that myself. I know that I've felt like that was a smoke and run, and then I come in and I'm like dead last because I for whatever reason. So have you seen that? Do you have a not a one, obviously not a one shot fix, but do you have some observations on why people do that, and why our mentality goes to that?
Yes. So if you are shooting a stage really well, it shouldn't be very exciting. It should look really boring.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're okay, there was actually a study done where they had these athletes, these sprinters, give it 100%, and then they had them dial it back to 90% effort, and they found that they were actually faster.
Oh wow.
So when you're trying to be fast, now you're creating all this tension in your body, which actually slows your body down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Where if you just do what your sights tell you to, you're just going to flow right through. So we're trying to minimize the amount of time spent not shooting. If I
Mm.
hear somebody shooting a stage and I hear bop 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 bop, I know something did not go right, whether they planned for it to go that way or not. I should not hear a long pause like that. I should hear bop 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 bop. There can be little pauses. There's going to be a reload maybe, or a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of movement where you have nothing to engage. But if I hear a long pause, that's a problem. Also, anytime you leave the fault lines, you are creating dead time. I know it's fun to feel like you're doing something cool and taking a shortcut, like you're gaming it. But if you are outside the fault lines, the only thing you can multitask is doing a reload. But a reload only takes about 2 steps because it should be done in the first or last 10% of your movement.
Right.
And
Okay.
if you do cut out, sometimes it is advantageous, but make sure you cut back in a little bit earlier than where your target is to give you an opportunity to be shooting on the move or having the gun up sooner.
Mm. I actually, I'm not an instructor. Well, I want to get into instructors in a minute, but I'm not an instructor per se. But I used to teach. I used to do a lot of instruction with kids to bring them into the sport. And one of the interesting things is a number of people who shoot and then they put the gun down at like 45 degrees, um, out in front of them, just stiff armed, and they're just like, an 80s cop movie. And I used to literally tell them, like, we're not cops, bro. The gun stays up. Like the gun, unless
Mhm.
unless there's a really valid reason, the gun stays up. Like, and it's a very interesting you can actually watch people, it just click in their heads that, yeah, this is what I need to be doing, right? So that's very funny. But I want, so we have a lot of instructors out there, right? So I mean, you can find somebody um, to instruct you in basically anything. And there's a lot of heat between instructors. There's a lot of gnashing of teeth, and just and everybody has their own way to do it. I was watching a video the other day of somebody shooting golf balls, which I thought was weird, but okay. But
Sounds like fun.
right, well, I know it was like, I guess somebody said that somebody had like sent this guy a comment saying that it's easier when you have a red dot or whatever. And so the guys like took his red dot off and then shot threw the golf ball in the air and shot it with their iron sights. And I was like, well, I mean, okay, if you practice it enough, you get it. But I thought
Doing
it
it
was
for the
funny.
gram.
Yeah, I think it was very funny. But what I've noticed is that I know very few instructors that actually shoot matches. Um, and I used to Chris down at like Veil Solutions, and I could probably name 10 instructors that if they might shoot 2 matches a year, maybe 3, because they're busy instructing. They have classes every weekend. They have classes through the week. They're trying to make a living teaching classes, which is hard. It's very hard, and
It
so
is challenging, yeah.
it's yeah, and so um, it's a do you find that you get are you shooting matches? Do you find that you have time to shoot matches? Do you think it's that it's something that is value, because it seems like what you're doing is so niche and specialized that the actual shooting of matches is less important, like when, like for a
Right.
race engineer, right? Like so I would liken this to, like, I know a lot of race engineers that have never driven a race car, never in their life. They've never even been in one. When they've sat in it, but they've never been around the track and race car. But they don't have to, because they're analyzing the data. They know what it's supposed to look like. They know what you're supposed to be doing. They can
Right.
watch the video. They can watch, and they can give feedback on that, which is what their actual job is. Their job is not to be great at driving a car. Their job is to be great at being able to tell you what you're doing wrong and analyze what you're doing wrong, and then give you a solution that works for you. And so, whereas I think that where you are is kind of niche and kind of like a race engineer, where you're basically providing feedback and some support and some instruction on how to get this done. Um, and you yourself said earlier, you're not concentrating on the shooting or the gun handling or the draw or lining up your sights or whether you should use red dot, whether you need a 6 MOA or a 2 MOA or whatever. None of that matters. It seems like what you're saying is that you're giving people the tools to assess what they're doing on course, or on course of fire, and that's where they're going to see the gains from what you and teach. And so maybe it's not important for you to go to a match, but I'm just curious, do you actually get to shoot matches? Do you do that?
Yeah, I do. Well, I'll say some of the best coaches in the world have never played that sport professionally. Some of the best football coaches were never football players.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, I have all the stats and I run the numbers and I give you techniques to use. I did eventually start shooting matches. I've had some health conditions the last couple of years that have prevented me from shooting matches. I did actually shoot a match last year, but it's really not necessary for what I do.
Right.
And I will say, anytime you make a commitment to other shooters, whether it's being a match director or starting to teach classes and coach people, it does take away from your own shooting because you're not investing in yourself, you're investing into those people. I would rather see one of my students become a world champion than try to do it myself, because that's not what I'm interested in. I find it so much more rewarding to get somebody else there.
I had the same conflict when I was a match director. When I was directing matches, it was virtually impossible for me to shoot a match well because there
are
was
a lot of
always
interruptions.
There's no flow to the match for me.
Right.
And then of course when when I was shooting, the last time I was shooting seriously, before I really injured myself, I just couldn't stop getting injured. And so now I'm not only am I, and it wasn't, the match directing, I wasn't even really doing that at that point. I was just trying to compete, but I couldn't stop getting injured. And so now I'm like worried. I know my shoulder's messed up. So I don't need to do, there's like, don't fall over here, don't slip, or, because, I have all of these extra concerns about about what I'm going to be able to do, or what the consequence is if I make a mistake. And so I know for a fact that it was hugely disappointing and a huge blow to my ego, to be honest with you, that I couldn't perform as well as I knew I could because, it's in your head.
Yeah,
And, I saw
that's tough.
Yeah.
So that is another thing that I focus on is injury prevention, making sure you're not fighting your own body. I'll have these young guys that are fit, athletic, explosive, and I see them doing something that kind of creates micro tears. And I'll tell them, this is not going to hurt you today or tomorrow, but if you keep doing this in this way, 5-10 years from now, you're going to have a torn ACL. And then I teach them how to do it with.
There we go. There we go.
And then I teach them how to do it without creating those little micro tears and those injuries that show up later on. And then if you have those injuries, I'll give you different ways to move so that at the end of the match, you don't have any additional pain.
Well, since you and I last talked, I've lost 40 pounds.
Okay.
I gained all of that weight because I tore myself up at the last Hardest Hell Resurrection.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, and I tore my knee and hip up, and I actually it took a year. Well, yeah, it took about a year to get completely done. But what really ended up solving the problem was this this technique called dry needling.
Oh yeah.
If you had told me that it would that would work as well as it did before I did it, I would have told you you're absolutely insane and a liar. But I'm here to tell you, if you have if
it's a tendon or a ligament, then yeah.
Yeah, and what I had done is I'd heard it so many times, and I had refused to let it heal. These knots were basically permanent. Like, and there was no amount of massage, there's no amount of anything that was or stretching. They weren't coming undone because they were just so used to being cramped up, and that limited my movement, gave me a lot of pain. And what they do is they go in and they like shock them physically, like shock the muscle with this needle, and it causes it to clench up and unclench, and it was shocking how much.
Yeah, what happens is the tendons are like a bunch of fibers, like a whole bunch of little strings. And then they kind of, instead of being all straight and nice, they get crumpled up like this. And kind of like with shooter's elbow, if you hang a weight at the end of it, then you can straighten the tendon by using the weight. And the more you increase the weight, gradually, the straighter it becomes. So you can actually heal shooter's elbow by using weights like this and like this.
Oh, interesting. I haven't
Set
had
your
a,
elbows on your knees and just do this or this. That's also in my book. It was Chad Riley who taught me that.
oh, wow. Yeah. But anyway, so I got injured. I gained a bunch of weight. And of course, that hurts everything else. Right. So, did my camera just freeze? My camera did just freeze.
Are you
Sorry
there?
about that. Sorry about that. My camera froze for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what happened. That's weird. We're having technical difficulties today that I don't normally have. So it's awesome.
You're
Um,
basically shooting open of computer stuff, and I'm shooting production. You just have
yeah,
more stuff that can go wrong.
I have a ton of stuff, and and because I'm doing um, the gun media stuff, I now have added so much more equipment than I ever would have thought possible. And the reason, yeah, I've got more cameras, more microphones, more everything. I've got a studio camera right here that looks down on my desk, so when I have a gun or something, I can show
Oh,
that.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's different. But yeah, and so since you've been on the show, I dropped a bunch of weight back down to almost where I normally ought to be, and so that's good for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you, I really appreciate that. And but that's good for me, but I'm still really slow. So I'll get back into it. I don't remember. I don't think I really know how to move the way I am now. I've got to kind of relearn it because I was hurt and heavy for a while. So kind of got to get back into
Yeah,
it.
one thing I will say is if you point your toes in the direction of movement, point your hips in the direction of movement, that does help keep things in line. If you can avoid anything lateral, side to side, your body can move that way, but it's less efficient. We're made to move more efficiently front to back, and that can help prevent injuries.
Awesome, awesome. Well,
Sometimes we have to, we don't have a choice, but if you just
mhm,
pop your toes out a little bit, that will help it be a little less strenuous
mhm.
with less lateral movement.
So if you were to start working with someone that was like maybe not a new shooter, but just maybe just barely made, I don't remember what the lowest USPSA class is, but
D class.
D class. So if you were to start working with a D class shooter who has, they're let's just call them the typical D class shooter that goes out, goes to the range, punches holes, pretty accurate, um, has spends a lot of time with their buddies, starts figuring out how the targets work, but their movement just sucks. They just don't know how to move through a stage. They don't know anything about stage planning. And you made a great post on Facebook about boundaries, and that's actually where I started to head there, um, because I have some very specific boundaries when I'm shooting, and
Yeah, boundaries versus expectations.
yes, and I'm really interested to hear when we're talking about the move, that, and we're going to use that term movement a lot today. When we're becoming, say, a C or B shooter, right? So let's not even use D because they're still walking. But let's say that we've got somebody that's trying to move now. Where do they make the time? Is it worth it for them to take your class and start understanding how to move and how to get and good stage planning and all of that? Um, and learning some of the etiquette of shooting, which I'm sure that is part of your course as well. What when does it become worth it to really take to spend the money? I guess.
I think as soon as you are able to move safely with the gun in your hands, that's when to start looking into these classes.
Okay. All right.
So there's kind of the way it's always been done, and then there are the methods that I've actually researched and proven to work, where we're keeping this extra mass in our hands. If you're running to pump your arms, keeping it closer to your center of gravity, like a sprinter, keeping your elbows in instead of out. So we're
Mm,
not sending force this way and this way when we're trying to go this way.
mm.
So Yeah, learning sort of the fundamentals of movement is important from the get-go. I will say if you're really slow and really accurate, a higher priority might be learning accuracy at speed,
Okay.
as long as you're safe.
Right, right. Do you find it so again, I shoot mostly multi-gun, and while we have occasionally we'll get some new guy in that doesn't really understand gun handling, and we get a lot of law enforcement that come in and they don't understand gun handling at all. But do you find that when you're dealing with a newer PSA guy, or maybe a D or C shooter, that they're still having issues with gun handling and understanding how to move through the course with the guns and things like that? And I asked that. I'm going to preface this before you answer, because I actually shot a match with the Battle for the South a couple of years ago, and it was a really good match. It was a 3-gun match, and there was a USPSA shooter there, and he got DQ'd on the first stage for something that was monumentally stupid. His accuracy was amazing, but he was performing a reload and just, I don't know. It's like he forgot how to reload the gun, and he triggered one into the berm. Now
Um,
in 3-gun, that's actually, we don't care about that, but we were running 3-gun under USPSA rules, or USPSA multi-gun rules, which now they do care, right? Because that's it, and even then, it was a questionable call in my opinion, but it was, he wasn't able to really move around the course of fire while he was doing a bunch of different things. So it was like, it looked like he was very used to like shooting in one position, reloading, and then moving, and then which is, but not the way we do in multi-gun, right? Where we end up being task
mhm.
saturated, to be honest with you. And have you found that to be, because I know that you've worked with like Max and some of the other 3-gunners
Mhm.
out there that are really good. So is that something you found, or is maybe it's just super individual that, I guess what I'm asking is, at what point do you start thinking that people are safe gun handling, when to have in your course, when you're
Well,
vetting them through your thing?
if they are a newer shooter, I will take them on in a private lesson individually. I can usually kind of tell, or I might ask them their classification or something like that. The
Mhm.
classification is a pretty good gauge. If they say they're a C class shooter, they're probably pretty safe. If they're D class, I'll go, tell me more about this, send me a video, and I might send them off to another
Mhm.
teacher who focuses more on fundamentals and gun handling. Or I'll say I can add a day and we can do a private lesson to cover those
Mhm.
things. But I wouldn't recommend taking my class right now until this is all subconscious,
Okay.
because
All right.
that becomes a safety thing.
Yeah,
When we have
absolutely.
8 people moving around with guns in the same class, we have to all be safe. And I have to trust my shooters that are going over to the other bay to do the drill that I showed them, and they're running each other doing the teach back method. I have to trust that they're going to be safe over there
Mhm.
on the next
Yeah.
bay.
Right, right. That's very okay. All right. I like that. I like that. So and so we're talking about you were talking about boundaries earlier. So for me, or in your on your Facebook post, I saw it today. I don't know when you made it, but I saw it today. And the thing that was really interesting is, I have this thing where I don't want anyone to talk to me 5 minutes before I have to
Mhm.
be on stage. I just don't want to talk to anybody. And usually what I'll do is I'll go reset. That way nobody can talk to me. Like, I just go reset some targets, and then and in my mind, I'm going through the stage. I'm thinking about
Mhm.
it. I'm thinking about what guns I need, what ammo, what gear I've got to carry. If I'm going to, if I need to maybe go back over my notes on, yardages or things like that. And it's a so it's a very interesting thing, to me, when we start talking about boundaries, because a long time ago, several years, that somebody else is the one. I didn't come up with a 5 minute thing, but I just don't want anyone to talk to me 5 minutes before I go do that, because I'm in my own. Because somebody, and I've had people come over and they're like, hey, and they start talking about how they just ran the stage. I'm like, no, 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 dude. Let me go do this, and I'll be back and we can talk about it. But let me go do this. Right.
So that's an expectation, not a boundary.
Yeah.
So an expectation is you are expecting someone else to do something. A boundary is something you are going to do. So they just don't have to do anything. Like if I have a toddler in the elevator with me in Las Vegas and there are 50 floors and they go like this down all the buttons and now we're going to stop at every floor trying to get to our room.
Yeah.
Maybe they do that the first time, and then I could say, all right, now when we get in the elevator, no pushing the buttons. That's something they have to do.
Yeah.
Or I can put my body in between the toddler and the buttons so they physically cannot push the buttons. Now that's something I'm doing, and they just have to do nothing.
Do you think that because I have a real thing about etiquette on the range. And
it's a thing. It's a big thing.
It's a big thing, right? Like one of the things that annoys me, and this is going to sound really petty, but one of the things that annoys me about a lot of USPSA shooters that come into multi-gun, you just walk the stage, and you will walk the stage out of sequence. You'll maybe go through the same part 3 or 4 times, and it's not in USPSA. Everybody lines up and they just go 1, 2, 3.
In the US, we do it. Not in every country.
Not in every country. Okay, so in the US, most USPSA, the etiquette is you're going to line up and you're going to stand there and wait while other people go walk the stage. And so even if you really only need to see this one spot, like this is the only part I really care about. I got everything else locked down, but I really need to see this. If I go over to that, I'll get a bunch of dirty looks by everybody's like, because you're out of sequence. And yet in multi-gun, where I spend most of my time, that's the norm, is that you find the thing that you're concerned about, the thing that maybe you haven't seen before, or maybe you haven't seen it for a couple of years, or maybe it's just a really interesting presentation of a target or position, positional work where you need to get in to a thing. And if it's like a wall or something that I need to brace against, I may brace on that 4 or 5 times so I figure out what I need to feel like. And it's just this etiquette of an etiquette difference between a couple of different sports. And I'm really curious, because you deal with so many people all across the country in a very specific way of moving through stages and stage planning. So I'm interested in what you think about the etiquette and where it is and where maybe it should be.
So I think the reason we kind of defaulted to the Congo line in the US is because you can arrive the day before a major match and look at all the stages. And you can look at them before the match begins in the morning. And then we get the 5-minute walkthrough where you're just kind of confirming you've already seen everything. So we're all taking our turn to kind of finalize and cement in our plan. But in IPSC, for example, you don't have as much time. You might only get 2 minutes, and you cannot step on the stage before that 2 minutes. So there might be a target that you kind of know where it's available from, but you're not 100% sure. So if you only have a 2-minute walkthrough, then it's perfectly acceptable in IPSC to just go pop in real quick to that spot, peek, pop back out, as long as you're not getting in anyone else's way. But in USPSA, it's kind of frowned upon because you had all this time. And if you just didn't show up early enough to go look at it, that's on you. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that kind of does make sense. I'm one of those that even of course, I don't take USPSA as seriously as some others, but if I go shoot a USPSA match, I get down the day of. Maybe I get there on time. Maybe I get there, just in enough time to pay and squat up, So I might be that shooter that everyone. I might be that guy.
I will say though, in the Philippines, when I was shooting a match, I was quite surprised. It was like ants on a watermelon. There was no line, there was no Congo line, and I was so used to that from the US that when I went to a match there and they just all went into different places all at the same time, just couldn't even see any fault lines.
Okay.
I didn't even know what to do.
Right. So what about okay. I mean that's fair. That's really good. Is that something that you address any of this stuff? Do you address any mental I mean obviously Steve is it Steve or Steven?
Steve.
Steve. Okay.
Yeah, the mental management
Yeah,
is
you
Steve's
mostly
thing.
that's what he does, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I am coaching people through the world shoot and nationals and things like that. So we do those things, but that's Steve's specialty.
Mm,
It's
okay.
something that I end up having to talk about
Sure.
just because that's what the game is.
Hmm. Okay.
But yeah, that's his lane.
Yeah. Kind of going back to safety for a minute, because something that I've always said just kind of struck me as, and so I've always said that you'll hear occasionally it's safety first, but I don't believe that. I think safety is like a third safety third. Maybe an argument could be made for fourth or fifth or any or nothing would get done, and and it's I think that's maybe maybe that's part of my own mental game where I'm like I'm willing to push the envelope a little bit, right? I'm not willing to be absolutely unsafe. Safety's still there, but I'm willing to push that envelope just a little bit, and I don't know that I would advise a newbie to do that, right? Like that's it's not maybe that's kind of where my brain is kind of disconnecting when we're talking about being able to move because I'm sorry to come back to it. I was just like it's just been kind of in the back of my head. I'm like I understand exactly where you're coming from because in your you've got 8 guys there and they've all got they're all hopefully competent, but you don't know that right, like you've got to take it on their resume, I guess, or reputation. Whereas, yeah, okay, that makes more sense to me. Yeah,
I
I've always said,
do think safety should be first.
yeah,
We are playing with guns.
mm-hmm,
So, yeah, I would put safety as number one.
mm-hmm.
That being said, if you're pushing the envelope, that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing something unsafe. I mean, even a 180 break
Yeah, I
might
get
not be unsafe. You're breaking a rule, but
mm-hmm.
if you're not pointing a gun at anyone, it's still pointed at a sidearm or something. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily unsafe. You're just breaking a rule.
Well, I guess,
Because we have these
yeah,
different levels of safety that are all
yeah,
working together.
yeah. I've always been on the edge of things anyway. So, and one of the things I used to hate as a match director is going to a match where what they would have, and this is not nearly as prevalent these days. I'm sure that it's something you probably either very rarely see or maybe never see now. But we used to have what were called 180 traps, and
Hmm.
it was where match directors would force a shooter, and especially some new shooters,
Hmm.
or maybe not as good a gun handler, to come into a position where it was almost guaranteed that they were going to break the 180. And I actually, um, I always had a real problem with that, and I would call them out if I saw them. And I would actually, um, I actually have been a jerk about it a couple of times to match directors and said, "You before anybody shoots this, you really need to consider changing this because we don't need a bunch of people DQ'd. No, nobody needs to go home today just so that you can have this corner this way. Like nobody needs to do that." So I'm that guy who'll be like, "No, there's no reason for this." And
So for me, there is a reason for it. I intentionally set up a 180 trap at least once during my class so that
mm,
they find out during the class instead of at a match.
yeah, well, that's
But if
good.
I'm
In
building a
training, I
stage
guess.
for a match, I'm not going to put it in a match.
Yeah, yeah. It's I used to um when I'm squatted with somebody, I try and teach people how to recognize them, so that if they see it in the future, that maybe they can call it out before the because nobody needs to go home because of something silly. But
Yeah, and they should be visually blocked off from the 180, but you can still end up kind of aiming back at it
I mean,
through a wall.
I've seen some, and I shoot you. We shoot in 270-degree bays and all kinds of weird stuff. So things happen. So I want to kind of move off of that for a little bit and So you talked a little bit about how you got into this at the beginning, but we've got a lot more people here tuned in right now, and plus you kind of went through it pretty quickly. So how did you get into this, and how has this evolved to where it is now? How did it, kind of how did it start? Where is it at now?
Well, um, I was in the Army and had shot every gun except a pistol, so I wanted to learn how to shoot a pistol.
Mm.
So I did a Google search, found USPSA, luckily, and the nearest range to me was about an hour and a half away. So I drove there and just observed, learned about the rules, asked a bunch of questions, and then kind of started experimenting with some things because what I was seeing in body mechanics did not make sense with what they were telling me about hit factor.
Mm.
So tested some things out, had some guinea pigs, and the first person I tried this on immediately took, I think it was 5 seconds off of moving. Maybe it was 3 seconds. I don't remember, but a significant number of seconds off of moving 5 yards, shooting 2 targets.
Okay.
So after that, I was asked to coach. And at this time, I had still never shot a pistol. So eventually that did happen. And I tested my theories on shooters all over the world. If you read my Smart Move book, you'll see a lot of contributions from different shooters all over the place. As I had my findings, my head was just full of all of this information, and I just had to dump it all out. And that's what made the book, was all the findings. And I wish I had PCC in there, but I don't. That movement is completely different.
Well, just means another book.
Yeah, could do that.
Means another book. So how is PCC different?
Well, the walls kind of jump out at you. They'll get you. Where with the pistol, it's a lot easier to transition across. With PCC, you might have to bring it in and push it out again. Having to switch shoulders, we don't have to worry about that with pistol. We might go strong hand weak hand for a tough lean, a really tough lean, but we don't have to switch shoulders or worry about offset optics or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, I actually shoot PCC occasionally. There was one in here. It's not here anymore. So it's getting. I'm going to shoot a PCSL match this weekend.
Yeah, and for pistol, if you're taking a hand off the gun to pump your arms, you're usually moving more than about 4 to 5 steps or so. Mm-hmm. With PCC, it gets a little more complicated because the weight and balance is different for every gun. Mm-hmm. And the way your body is built too. So if, let's say I'm 100 pounds soaking wet and I've got this really heavy PCC, I'm not going to be able to hold it like a pistol to pump my arms.
Yeah.
But if I'm a big dude that hits the gym twice a day and I have a lightweight PCC, I can really fling that thing around and get myself moving.
Yeah.
So the answer is different for everybody.
There's some engineering in that too. I have I'm able to run with my AR one-handed, but it's heavy, but it's balanced. And that's actually something.
Yes, the balance is really important.
Yeah. Brian Nelson made a video about that like 8 years ago or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
he might have been with us. I don't remember if he was with us when we went out to the desert or not.
Yeah, I think it was when he was at TPC full time, and he was talking about how, just being able to grip it by the grip and not have either end sag. Right?
Yes, and exactly.
Then you can run. I can run full sprint with just the gun in my hand and not have to worry about it tip. The barrel.
The muzzle dipping. Yeah. And
there
are. Yeah. So there are different techniques based on all of those things. Mm-hmm. And then there are also different techniques based on the distance you're covering. because it's a lot more awkward to run with it like a pistol for a really long distance. Then you might have to switch to a overhand suitcase carry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting when we start talking about running with guns, which is what we're doing. We're running with guns.
Exactly what we're doing.
So that's cool. So what's the most what's the most frequently given advice that you give or correction that you have to make? What does everybody screw up?
The number one thing is get low. Sit your butt down. A lot of people stay up too tall, and that jerks the sights more. It's hard to move smoothly. It's harder to move efficiently. So the distance from the ground to your shoulders should be the same from the beep until the last shot, unless you have a low port or have to go prone or something weird like that. It takes, at the very top levels, actually, I figured this out from watching Eric Graffel's videos and actually did the math on it. So let's say the best pistol shooter in the world, we'd agree with that?
I mean, he's in top 5 for sure. Rob Romero.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say Eric Graffel is the best pistol shooter in the world. And when I did the math, I found that because he was popping up in positions and using that as a deceleration technique, then he would have to get down low again to move. It was costing him 1/10 of a second per position. Wow. So either it creates shooting on the move difficulty without going anywhere because now you're shooting as you're standing up, or you have to wait till after you finish standing up, which causes a delay in the shooting, in addition to the time it takes to stand up and then get down again.
Yeah.
So if the best shooter in the world is 1/10 of a second, what's it going to be for a C-class shooter?
Oh, 5.
Yeah.
You know, like
add that up for a whole match.
Right. Well, and that's so. I used to shoot with this guy, and he had a spreadsheet, and he would break every stage down into how long it was going to take to move from here to there, how long it was going to take, how long he expected the shots to take, and he could predict his time on that, what it ought be.
You need to know your stats.
And it was crazy.
So I tell people when you're predicting your move times, the most common are going to be the length of typical walls. So we have the 4-footers, the 6-footers, the 8-footers. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes there's a 16 or something like that. But if you know the 4, 6, 8, you can pretty much figure out what your move times are going to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there's another complication where we have to consider, is it an easy exit, hard exit, easy entry, hard entry? That's going to affect the time as well.
Yeah. And I mean, it all makes sense. I'm not good at it, but I understand.
Yeah, you need to know your stats. So I tell people keep a notebook with dates on it. So my, let's say your 90-degree transition time is 0.5 on this date. Then maybe we can see that tick down a little bit. 0.5 is pretty good for a 90-degree transition. Narrow transitions, let's say it's 0.3. Maybe we can get it down to a 0.25. So you need to know your numbers so you can track your progress. And targets that are right next to each other without really any transition time, typically we want to see transitions that are the same as the splits.
Yeah, it looks like I froze again for some reason. I don't know why. It's all right. It'll clear up. Very strange.
But yeah, you should know your transition times for various degrees. You should know your draw time, your table start, unloaded start, slide lock reload, reloaded moving versus standing still. Know your stats. And once you get up there and you're competing for top 10, now you not only need to know your stats, but you need to know your competitor's stats as well.
Right. I mean, if you take it seriously, you need to be serious about it.
Yeah. So when I have my guys at nationals, I know what they can do consistently. And I also know what their competitors can do consistently and what they are likely to do. So then when they're making a decision on a stage, I can help them with those kind of decisions based on the math.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like it. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. My software is being weird. I may be due an update. I'm not going to update it. My apologies. Center of one of my viewers says center of mass, balance, and economy of motion. Not really.
He's talking about the PCC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some people do, it really is personal preference too, though. Some people do like the heavier muzzle end. For me personally, because I'm so into the movement, I want to be able to really get my arms moving, pumping my arms.
Very strange. Sorry, I am having, for whatever reason, I'm having
Technical difficulties.
technical difficulties. It's crazy. Never really have anything go on until it's important. So let me do this. I'm gonna hit that like that. That way I'm just an avatar, and that looks good. And we'll make it work. So so you've been doing this for how long now?
16 years.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Yeah, yeah. That's a long time. Have you? Is it just a one book that you've written, or have you written another one? Or are you going to write?
I did write another one, but I have not published it.
Ah, okay. Is that one going to have the PCC in it?
Yeah, I do talk about that. It's not specific to PCC. It's called Train Smart. So my two classes are Smart Move and Train Smart. So Smart Move is movement and vision training. Train Smart is more how to be your own coach. So in the Train Smart class, the first thing we do is shoot a blind stage. So you get 30 seconds to look at it and come up with a plan, turn around without looking, do your visualization, and then just shoot it. Because sometimes in a match, let's say your gun breaks or something and you have to switch to your backup, you didn't get a chance to look at the stage yet, and you're up. So it kind of also helps bring pressure to your practice. And how often do you get to shoot a blind stage? Not too much. And sometimes they actually have them in matches, not USPSA anymore, but IPSC. Well, it wasn't IPSC. I think I was shooting one of the specialized Filipino sports when I did a blind stage. So we start with the blind stage, then we get into some match math, contingency plans. We reverse engineer transitions. We go over how to create a training plan. I do vision training for moving targets, vision training for ghost partials. Then we do the kamikaze, which is kind of switching between shooting mode and moving mode. And we finish with a little mini competition that's a progressive training drill. I also have a newer drill that we do if we have time. It's called the Kita cookie drill, where every alpha earns you 2 bullets. And it's kind of, if you run out of bullets, you're out. If you get 6 alphas on far partials, you win. And it kind of makes it fun to practice really far partials, which are not fun to practice normally. I like to make things games because I find that people learn a lot faster if it's a game, if it's more fun.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So we have a question. Is being accurate more important than being fast, or is it equally important?
It's like this. So when you first start shooting, you're probably going to be really accurate and really slow. And then you go, oh my goodness, I need to speed up. So then you go really fast and your accuracy gets really, really bad. So what happens is we keep switching back and forth between speed and accuracy until the difference gets much, much smaller. And then at the top levels, it's kind of like this, where somebody observing might not even notice that they're still going between speed and accuracy. And then there's also the decision that you have to make sometimes based on hit factor. So high hit factor, we're going to be looking more at speed, and low hit factor, we're going to be looking more at accuracy, because one is going to carry a little bit more weight than the other. So a low hit factor stage, typically it has more targets, you're moving around a lot more, there's more distance to cover. A high hit factor stage, you're not moving around a whole lot, there are less targets. So speed is a lot more important.
Okay, I may drop off for just a minute, but just keep, I guess, keep talking to the lovely audience, and I will be right back. So
Okay.
please stand by. I apologize. It's I don't know what's going on. It may be we do have some rain in the area, so I'm gonna just switch to a backup.
Oh,
Internet.
okay.
Give me 1 second. I'll probably drop off, but I'll come back.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm it. Do you guys have any questions you want to ask? I can see it in the chat. Waiting with the party over here. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. Okay. I guess I could talk about stage planning. I was all by myself. So I actually just did a stage planning segment with Steve Anderson for Hillsdale College, which was really cool. But so it's already out there, but I can tell you guys kind of what I do. So the first thing I do when I walk up to a stage is obviously look at the stage briefing, because sometimes it's wrong. Maybe they pulled a target and forgot to update it. So I walk all the way around the outside along the berm and count all the targets and just make sure they're all there. Once I do that and confirm, then I walk around the inside and make sure my number matches the outside. So the first step is eliminating any mistakes the range may have made. And if I go through the first time and let's say it's 20 rounds and I get 18 rounds, I'm going to walk it again and see what I missed. If I still get 18 rounds, I'm going to ask a buddy. And if my buddy also, well, they might say, oh, did you see this one over here behind the barrels? Or they might say, I also only got 18. And then you go get an RO and let them know so they can update it. Then I walk around the inside of the fault lines and make sure my numbers match. This eliminates the failure to engage or double engagement. It's like when Wayne left Garth on stage, LOL, you're doing good, thanks. So step 2 is eliminating failure to engage, double engagement. So let's say I get 18 when I'm walking the inside after I just got 20 walking on the outside. So now I know I'm missing a target. So I'm going to walk it again and try to find where that target is. So if I still can't figure out where I can see this target from, I'm going to walk around the outside again, find the target that I know I'm missing, stand in front of it and face back toward the fault lines. And wherever you can see an opening between the walls, those are your options where you could potentially engage it from. Now, if I got 22, now I'm seeing something twice. The same target is available from multiple positions. So I might take a magazine and set it on the ground, standing up in front of a target. And if there are 2 of them, I might take 2 mags so I can tell the difference between which target I'm seeing from which place. Just make sure you're a little bit away from the target so that you're not touching it, because ROs get upset about that. You have something to say. Yep, welcome back, Wayne.
I'm back. Sort of, maybe.
I'm Garth. You're Wayne.
Oh, that's funny. That is very funny. All right. So that was weird. I don't really know what happened, but whatever. It's fine. That was crazy. Welcome back. Hey, thanks for everyone welcoming me back. That really appreciate it. Um, the what did I miss?
I was talking about stage planning
Okay,
after a really awkward moment of being left alone on stage.
I apologize. I do apologize. No, the camera was not overheating. The I don't actually don't know. It was something with the Streamlabs OBS software just kept shutting down. I don't know why. So it may need an update, and I've actually skipped a couple of updates, so it is
Mm,
what it is. You know.
yeah, that happens. Especially when you hop on at the last minute and then as soon as you open it, it says update required.
Right. Yeah, and that's always the way it works for me. Is that it's never when I have like an hour to make it work.
Right. Well, when are you going to log in an hour beforehand when you actually have the time to do it? You're going to log in when you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way it is. Um, yeah. So the stage. I heard a little bit of the stage planning, um, and one of the things you said was really interesting because I have one of the very first things that I learned when I was uh, shooting three gun is that they'll give me the expected round count,
Hmm.
and I would and so, or the number. They don't give round count, they give targets. So I like 10 pistol targets, 10 rifle targets, whatever. And if I would walk the stage, if I came up with 9 pistol targets, I'd be like, all right, where's it? Where's the target? It's got to be here. Where's it gonna be? And so that and it and I have actually gone and asked the ROs, where is this target? I've looked and I don't see this target. And very often it's because I wasn't looking in the right direction. And you're right, walk around outside, look at
Hmm.
behind things, because perspective really matters a lot.
Sometimes when I build a stage, I'll throw a random barrel stack out there without a target behind it just to mess with people
That's so evil.
because
I
I'm
do.
so mean.
Yeah, I actually I've I don't get a chance to pay very much attention to Facebook, but I've noticed in the past you would do your stage. You had the 3D printed stage
Yeah, the 3D
props
stage
like
builder
that.
kit.
Yeah, I have that too, and I used to like occasionally catch your where you would have like everything set up and everything. I thought it was very funny.
That's what I use for my video reviews.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I have people send me video reviews and they upload 3 videos to my coaching app. So I'll slow it down, voice it over, draw angles and things like that.
Hmm.
And then I will send them drills based on specifically what they need the most. So I
Mm,
set up my little Lego guys and I'll walk them through the drill I want them to do.
that's flawless.
My
That's
daughter
flawless.
loves it because she has her friends come over and they see the setup and they're like, "What is that?" And Pixie says, "Oh, my mom gets paid to play with Legos for a living."
Yeah. Hey, it's good work if you can get it. You know.
Right?
Um,
It's a lot of fun.
yeah. Yeah. So what's the next evolution of what you're doing? Are you just going to keep doing the way it is? Are you partnering with anybody? Are you growing it? Do you intend to um, do you just intend to just kind of keep it the way it is for now and see what happens down the road? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, I am working on a competitive GM class right now. So a lot of people get nervous about, oh, I just got my GM card, but am I going to be competitive? And just kind of getting them over that hump so that they're
Mhm,
actually
mhm,
competitive. They're finishing in the middle of the pack of the GMs versus getting beat by A class shooters.
mm,
So the Train Smart class is created based on the techniques that I used to create national and world champions. So the GM class is kind of expanding on that, taking it next steps further because my classes, if you've ever taken my class, it's so packed full of information. I'm trying to squeeze as much as I can into 2 days. It could really be a 3 day class, but most people can't get a day off, extra day off work. So I try to fit it all into 2, and both of my
mhm.
classes are like that, just action packed. So yes, there's always more. And this is kind of what I do in my private lessons with my national and world champions to get that competitive GM class put together. I'm using those techniques to make a new curriculum.
My phone is going crazy today too, by the way. I don't know why, but everybody has decided to call me today.
That happened to me yesterday when I was teaching at the college.
I'm like,
Only for that 1 hour that I was teaching.
yeah, and I'll call them back and then they'll be busy and they'll be like, well, I called you.
Right.
All right. So, okay. So you were teaching at the college. What were you? Is it the same? Is it related to
Yeah, it
this?
was a Zoom. So
Mm,
yeah, I could see all the students sitting at their desks with their computers taking notes or writing notes and hands going up. It was really cool. They
mm.
were all about my daughter's age, almost all of them.
Okay. Yeah. Well, my son is 15, and he went from about this high to that high in about a year. So, and he's very ungainly. Um, he's
Gangly.
Yeah, he's just ungainly. He's like he's not used to being as tall and as lanky as he
He's
is.
working on his proprioception. He doesn't know where his parts are in relation to his
Yeah.
body.
Yeah, no, that's a real thing. And so
It
he
is.
actually shot a 3 gun match with me last year, and he was just so awkward through the whole thing because he just doesn't his body mechanics haven't caught up to
Hmm.
where he is. So very funny though.
Yeah, I remember going through that. I was the tallest girl, and in middle school. Well, it was called junior high at the time.
Yes, I remember
All
that.
the boys were like up to here on me. And then we all evened out. I'm not super tall either. I'm 5'8", kind
Mm.
of tall for a girl, but yeah, I just shot up so much in such a short period of time. I didn't know what to do with my arms and legs were just everywhere. But I found that playing basketball and baseball helped a lot,
Mm. Okay.
especially basketball.
Yeah. So you've always been in sports.
Always.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I started out, my very first sport was actually gymnastics.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Then, I've done gymnastics, baseball, volleyball, basketball. Cheerleading was a big one for a long time.
That makes
And of
sense.
course, shooting.
Yeah. Right. So what pistol do you shoot now?
CZ Shadow 2,
Okay. Is
the
that your
Shadow 2 Orange.
the favorite one that you've tried, or is just what you ended up with, or
It's my favorite one that I tried. So I don't always bring a gun with me when I'm going to international classes unless I'm going there specifically for a match. So usually I'll just borrow one. So I
Mhm.
borrowed one in Australia to shoot nationals there, and I really liked it. I liked the way it fit in my hand, and I I was born with a hole in my heart, so I have kind of this natural tremor that I was born with.
Mm.
So I like the weight of the metal gun. It kind of stabilizes
Mhm.
better with my shakes.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Oh, also parts are readily available and easy to get pretty much anywhere you go.
right. Right. I was gonna say that they break enough that everything's available. Literally everything's available. I'm being funny because I have a CZ. I just don't shoot it very much. So
Yeah,
um,
and I found one of the main wear parts for a lot of people is the slide stop.
yes.
So make sure you have an extra slide stop with you if you're shooting that gun. I have not had one break. Oh, but mine is from Ementech. Ementech makes
We've got the upgraded one.
really high quality parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I have not had mine break either, but mine was Cajunized pretty early on. So who knows what's in it now? I didn't ask. So um And I shoot a CZ PO9 quite a bit. That
Hmm.
actually used to belong to Brian Nelson.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, yeah. He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to sell a gun." I'm like, "I'll buy it." So I ended up
There
with
you
that.
go.
So um, I shoot a 2011 most of the time, and I was on the range earlier today, and just a indoor range, and I have not been shooting quickly from the holster very much. Almost every stage plan that I've shot in the past few months has been, um, you know, it gives me a movement before I need to draw, right? Like if
Um, Always draw right away. Don't delay the draw for movement.
yeah.
I
So
know there are some exceptions in three gun. I get that.
well, even when I shoot like PCSL, which is an indoor match for me here locally, and there's not a lot of movement, but it's always like 2 steps or 3 steps. So getting the gun out like super fast for on like a stand and deliver stage is not I always have I don't I'm able to get a good grip, build the good grip, and then bring it up. So I noticed that, and I wasn't doing very good on a draw, well, basically a bill drill, um,
Okay.
and I just noticed I wasn't doing as well as I feel like I normally would, and I'm pretty positive that the reason why is I couldn't remember the last time on a stage I've had to draw, stand, and deliver. It's always been that I get at least 1 or 2 steps. And if you give me 2 steps, the gun's up. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
um,
I always recommend draw the gun right away. And if you can draw on the move, if you're going to be coming by those targets later on anyway,
mhm,
multitask, draw on the move. Now, if
right.
you're doing a stand and deliver, I recommend having an index point on your forearm where it's touching the gun.
Hmm.
So you can kind of, well, I talked about proprioception before,
Right.
so you know where the gun is in relationship to your body. So you just kind of slide your forearm up and then you're right on the grip.
Yeah. So with me, um, the way I've been doing it is I don't do the forearm thing as much, but I have like I touch the holster and then I pull off like just like an inch, so I know where I am. Um, and my the actual grab is good, but it's right now I'm not as I'm coming up. I'm not building that position as consistently as I should, and I would
Yeah.
have I would do pretty good, pretty quick, and have a pretty good all alpha, and then the next one I'd have mm, weird cadence, and because I'd have to fix
Adjust
the
your
grip.
grip.
Yeah, I'd have to fix the grip, and then I'd have like a Charlie and maybe even I got like a couple of deltas, which is really annoying. I don't like that. And
Yeah, I
so
like to tell people to index their forearm on the magwell
mhm.
so that they know they're not going to jam into the beaver tail because you do that once and you don't want to do it again. It doesn't feel so great.
Yeah.
Another thing you could do is the draw micro drill. So you set the timer for 4/10 of a second and just get your left hand over to the holster across your belly
Mm,
and not in front of the holster. So you're not going to sweep yourself when it comes out, but
right.
just close enough so you can start forming your grip right out of the holster
Mhm.
instead of all the way up here. Cause then you're ending up
Yeah,
knocking it off
I don't do the
target.
slap. Yeah, I typically I come up and I build my grip right like like
Yeah, that's too late.
like right there.
I would do 4/10 of a second, just getting a good firing grip on the gun. And at the same time, your other hand is coming over to the side of the holster, getting ready to meet it. And that's 4/10.
Mm,
And then do 4/10 again, starting with the firing grip and your hand over there ready to meet it. 4/10 from here, just to a sight picture. And then set it to 8/10 to do the entire draw just to a sight picture. We don't want to be doing trigger here because then you start rushing that trigger press to beat the
yeah.
beep, and that causes other issues.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I was. It wasn't. wasn't what I wanted this morning. I'm disappointed. It's a matter of I don't do it anymore. Really, is the big deal. Is I just don't do it. So need to need to do that. So that's yeah, that's got to work on that for myself. And but everything else, I've been accuracy wise. I was a little concerned about accuracy after I kind of had a not a long layoff, but I didn't shoot very much last year. But the accuracy came back pretty good with pistol. Rifle, it never goes away. Rifle's like super easy.
Yeah. It's easy to say, but all you got to do is pull the trigger straight, right? That's
No,
it. Just
rifles have always been really, and I think they were just people like that, right? Like rifles have always been like super comfortable to me. I get them set up. I build them almost all the same all the time, and um, the rifle has always been really good for me. Now I understand a lot. I know people struggle with the mechanics of rifles sometimes, but for just for me, I've um, whether it's a PCC or a three gun rifle, the rifle's always been really good to me. Um, and shotgun's not that big a deal, but um, I think I consider pistol to be the most perishable skill. That's why, honestly,
mhm.
um, I think what you do and the way you do it, teaching movement with the handgun is so important because pistol's the most perishable skill, and it's the one gun that can completely wreck a match. If you're a
It's
little off on shotgun, if you're a little, you can tank a match. If you're in three gun, you can tank a match with your rifle because you just can't hit long range. But that you knew that going in because you can't hit long range, right? Like your abilities. But with pistol, everybody thinks they're good at pistol. I've never met anybody that's like, I suck at pistol. Pistol sucks. I don't want to do pistol. I've never met anybody who didn't think they were good at pistol.
I
And
have found that in three gun, the guys who win have really strong pistol skills.
you have to. You just have to. That's why it's really important what you're doing. It really is. And being able to move is really really important. And obviously, I think in multi gun and PCSL, you can kind of make it up if your transitions are clean and all of that. But with USPSA, it's so condensed that you're literally like you were saying. It's like, how do I find a tenth in this 4 foot wall? Like, where is it? There, I need it because this guy is 2 tenths faster on this wall than me. Right? Where is it?
Yeah,
Where do I find it?
at the highest levels, we're looking for tenths of a second.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
will
even
say the average shooter who comes to my class takes off between 3 and 5 seconds, depending on their skill level.
mm,
Of course, if you get a lower skill level, just less experienced shooter, I can take 40 seconds off their stage. I can take stages off their stage. GM comes in, they're looking for a tenth. They're excited to get a second. I can usually take a second off of a very high level shooter. So then there's everything in between there. But I'd say the average is about 3 to 5, 6 seconds.
I mean, it's like, I think pistol is the hardest gun to master. It's the most perishable. If you stop doing it for any length of time, you're just not going to be as good as somebody who's doing it even just somebody that dry fires every day is going to be ahead of you more than likely. So I think it's awesome. I think what you're doing is really good. I think the way you're doing it is really good. It makes a lot of sense. What does this cost? I mean, is it you don't have to give exact, but you can just give ballpark. What does it cost to do a class with eight other people?
It's 525 per person for 2 days,
Okay,
and whatever the range fee is, if there is one.
sure. Okay. I mean, that seems reasonable. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty competitively priced. But keep in mind, I'm pricing myself competitively with guys that are teaching 20 guys on a line, and
Right.
that's maybe what they're charging, or they may even be charging more. So
Yeah.
it's pretty competitively priced for what you're getting. It's a lot of really individualized feedback that you're just not going to get that in a class of 20.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. What do you have? All right. So, what does the mix tend to be with when, let's just, your average class of, you know, um, say B to just below master class shooters? Is it like, it's just a bunch of dudes? Or there's some girls in there? Is it are these like
I will
college
say
guys?
I think I get more ladies in my class because ladies tend to enjoy learning from other ladies.
Mm,
And I teach them little things that are helpful for girls where the men might not know that because they have man hands
sure. Yeah.
or they're just built differently and they don't have to deal with the kind of problems that we face. So I'm able to give them these extra little tips specific to females. I do have quite a range. It's typically, sometimes I'll get D class shooters, sometimes I get
Mm.
GMs. It's typically like C class through master in the usual class.
How much time do you take between classes? Do you would I mean, like, so I guess what I'm asking is, like, obviously you have to travel.
Yeah.
You're there for at least 2 to 3 days. Um,
Well, I usually have a private lesson day either before or after the class.
okay.
So it ends up being about a 5 day trip. So sometimes I'm going straight from one location to the next. Now that my daughter is 18 and she's in college, she lives at home. But now that she's old enough that I can be gone longer, I am doing more longer trips. When I do international classes, I'm usually gone about 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And within the US, I'll usually be gone maybe Thursday through Tuesday or something like that. And then I might have a weekend off, or I might be home for one day and then go somewhere else. It really varies.
Okay.
And typically I go to other countries during the winter in the US.
Hmm. So, um, okay. I mean, that all makes sense, right? So you're not like, you're not running yourself ragged, but you're doing pretty well. Um, do,
Yeah, I mean, there are times I have to turn down classes just because I can't be in all those places at once. There's only
right.
one of
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that makes total sense. Um,
I'm gonna have to wrap this up here. I
cool.
have to go. I have a mommy daughter date.
Oh, yeah, no worries. We'll just keep talking about guns for a little while longer, but it was great having you again. Sorry about the technical difficulties. That was very, and now everything's fine.
No
Like,
worries.
everything's working
I'm
fine.
glad we got through it.
It was like, it
Thanks,
was so
guys, in the
weird.
chat for your support on that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're really good. They're really good people.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
I've really the most of the people that follow me are, they're coming over from the political channel, so they're all um, really good human beings for the most part. So, and yeah, I don't know. We had a couple of ladies in earlier. I saw them, but I think they may have left. I don't know if they're still there. We did have a question. Does your course transfer to self defense, or is it a totally different type of class?
So I have done some contracts. Uh, I've worked with SWAT teams and things like that, but this is a different class.
Sure.
I do actually recommend to my more tactical guys to use USPSA as a training tool.
Mm-hmm.
The best teams, the best military teams in the world shoot USPSA. So I do recommend they do that for their training, and I offer to do that and to teach them. But I have also done, room clearing, house clearing, night vision, all kinds of stuff.
That's cool. I mean, you've had to have had just a lot of great opportunities doing this, to just play with other cool stuff and go to cool places and all of that.
Yeah, it's been the dream for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's been awesome having you again. I could probably continue on for quite a while, but that's okay. We don't need to do a Brian Nelson extravaganza every 6 hours. But it was great having you. You're welcome on the show anytime. We'll we'll be looking for you out there on the range. And are you coming to Tennessee to do a class this year or no?
I don't have Tennessee on the books this year so far.
Yeah.
I am booked out through, well, getting into the fall. So I can take some bookings for fall, winter, but then we're getting out into 2027 already.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Although I did have something open up in March. I was supposed to be in Brazil and um, had a change of plans. So yeah, I can do something in March. So there is
Yeah.
an opening there.
Yeah, I don't know how many people here are wanting it, but it seems like the guys at the Glock store would want to bring you in and offer a class because they're doing PCSL out of there now, and you also
I actually went to the Glock store a couple of years ago
yeah, Evan brought you in here.
and did something for their staff.
Mm-hmm.
They had kind of a fun range day.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I Evan's not at the Glock store anymore, so
No, he just moved to Las Vegas now.
I know, I saw that. Yeah, he was actually out there while I was out there for Shot, and then I got busy, because I worked at Shot. Like I don't know what other people do at Shot. I don't, but I was working. Like I was
Hmm.
trying to meet as many people as I could, schedule as many interviews as I could. I figure if I could get one interview a week, that's my whole year of shows to do, and then all the other stuff that we're going to do through the channel will be, just kind of extra stuff, and so it was I was working. I don't know what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And
Well, even all the parties and the dinners, that's where the best deals are made.
I didn't go to any because I was wrecked at the end of the I was supposed to go to the guns.
It's no joke, dude.
I was supposed to go to guns.com, which is supposed to be the party, the hard party to get into. Nobody gets into it,
No,
especially
I
their
thought that
first
was
night there.
Cry,
Um,
the Cry
well,
Precision Party.
yeah. Well, I don't know that they had. I didn't even see a Cry Precision booth, but I could have missed it. So,
Mm.
but because I wasn't in the tactical area very much, I was all in the because I think they were in the police area this year. If they
Yeah, they're
were,
usually in the basement.
oh, I was down in the basement, but every time I was down in the basement, it was like I was on a mission to see this person and this person and this person,
Hmm.
and yeah, so that was and I met up with Max. I talked to the guys at Ely. Ely apparently has a really cool minor 124 grain 9 millimeter that they apparently have a massive stock of in the U.S. And I'm going to try and test it and see if it's worth it for people who um, don't want to hand load, don't want to tool up to hand load, but want a competition level 124 grain. Might be something that's worth.
Yeah, 124 is pretty good. A lot of people like the 147s, kind of like
Yeah.
powder puff
Hmm. Yeah,
for
I tried the
competition, but
140.
124 is pretty good.
Yeah,
I've
I
shot Ely before. I like it.
you like it? Yeah, I haven't shot it. I'm going to try it. I shoot a 124 grain. I hand load, and I shoot a 124 grain Precision Delta hollow point, a jacketed hollow point, and it's they're great, but they are so soft. Like
Yeah.
you can hear the difference
Yeah.
between between my stuff and like the guys will be out there with their blazer or whatever, and I'm like, and they're
Oh,
just
those are snappy.
they're like, what are you shooting? And I'm like, it's my stuff, man. And so it makes anybody look good. But um, the I tried 147s. I just the I've got the gun really tuned with these 124s to where there's no move like, and I'm shooting iron sights and there's almost no movement of the sights off the target, and
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah. I like
And
the Supervel 147 grain.
yeah, I've used Supervel. a good bit. They had a really good deal there for a while on
Yeah, they did.
147.
I loaded up.
You loaded up. I needed to have and I didn't, but it is okay. I mean, I don't mind, yanking the press around and making a bunch of ammo. I try and load a couple of nights a week, and because right
If I
now,
was ever home.
well, and see, this is the thing, so the past few years been really busy. My kids have been doing stuff. I've been doing stuff, and I kind of took a break from shooting because of my health anyway. And I wanted to get healthy again. And I knew I needed to lose the weight that I put on while I was injured. And now, like uh, I work out 3 times a week. I shoot 3 to 4 times a week. I go to the range. I shoot between 200, maybe 300 rounds every range session with pistol, and I do a lot of dot drills. I do a lot of dot drills. I'm really I'm not obsessed with accuracy, but I want to be able to put 6 rounds in a 1.5 inch shoot and see at 6 yards, and just be able to do it and um,
Consistently.
consistently, tired, whatever. Just I want to be able to do that, because if I can do that, that means alpha's like now all of a sudden the A zone's like this friggin' huge, it's like really crazy. And and um actually I took a class with someone, and the first time I ran through one of the practice stages, he was like, "You've never done this before, have you?" And I'm like, "No, I do it every weekend. I'm a 3 gunner." And he looked at me and said, "We shoot alphas here." Made fun of me for the whole rest of the weekend. And I shoot a lot of alphas. For a 3 gunner, I shoot a ton of alphas just because I'm like, we shoot alphas here. And so I have never forgotten that. And, and so it's, um, and we shoot small things in 3 gun too. Like we'll shoot 3 inch
Mhm.
plates, and
Yeah.
that's hard. Like, so, but that I'm actually training with shoot as full a match schedule this year as I can. Um, I'm waitlisted for Superstition. I want to get into it so badly, um, but we'll see. And I can't wait. It's going to be a great year, shooting wise for me, and I hope it's a good year for my channel here. And I'm really happy you came on today to talk to us. And I,
Yeah. Thank you so
you,
much for having me.
yeah, absolutely. And again, you're always welcome here. And you should get going and go do mom daughter stuff.
Yep. Got to do mom things.
Yeah, be a mom. All right. Thank you so much, Kita. It was great having you. Do you want to shout out your socials or anything while you're here? And that way,
Oh, yeah. If you're interested in a class or want to set one up in your area, please email me. It is 180 firearms training at gmail.com. 180 firearms training at gmail.com. My Facebook is Kita Busse, KITABUSSE, just like right there. And my Instagram is also Kita Busse. I also have 180 firearms training pages on both. My YouTube is also Kita Busse. So if you just Google search Kita Busse, you'll find me.
and the infamous picture of the midair
Oh yes.
mag change. That's right. It was awesome. All
All
right.
right. Have a great rest of your day.
You have a great rest of your day. Thank you for coming on. Everybody say good night to Kita. She's going to go do cool stuff.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye. All right. Uncle Gunn says, good guess. We need more women getting training. She's actually the trainer. So that's awesome. Everybody, if you have not already, please go over to Gun Prattle at Gun Prattle. Watch the show from there, please, 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 because it really helps out. I need to get those watch hours up, and I got to get the subs up so I can get this channel monetized. We are on both channels right now. I did that because reasons. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kita's actually really awesome. I've known of her for a long time, and she was on the show before, but she really couldn't get a word in edgewise with Steve there. So wanted to have her back. She was a grandmaster if I ever saw one. Yeah, I mean, I think she's pretty good, but uh, the important thing is that she understands movement and musculature and what your body is doing and the dynamics of moving that body through space and time in the and to make it better, right? And I think that's very important to be able to do. And yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Um, and that was a good show. Worked out time wise, worked out really well. So um, yeah, love that stuff. Yeah, she is very knowledgeable. She's been doing this for a long time now, and she's trained world champions to be able to go be a world champion. And that's important. That's important to think about. Nate says he needs to spend some time on dummy pistols. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, what else can we talk about? I saw that Charlotte Nightstar popped in. I saw that cool Vic Raiders, and I got a super chat. Let me go back. I got to go find this super chat. It was very early in the podcast. Christopher Scott sent $5 and just gave me a salute. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. Very, very much appreciated. Hope you're still watching. I apologize when I'm doing the interviews, guys. I try not to talk to the chat unless I can absolutely not help it, or the chat is making just a great, great point. It is odd that my mic seems to be low, so I've got to look into that. I may have a bad cable or something. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. So, yeah. Well, I've got a few minutes here before I've got to go. I think I do anyway. Is there anything that you guys would like to chat about really quickly? Questions? Concerns? Any of that stuff? All right. Well, I had a great time. It was good. It was a good show. Really enjoyed it. Kita is very knowledgeable, as others have said. I think that she's doing something that there really are not a lot of people who teach movement and dynamic movement and why you should do what you should do and how you should think about it. She may be the only one that's really doing it. She has written a book. Um, you should go check it out. Uh, yeah. Am I going to watch the Super Bowl? No, no, I'm not. I don't. I didn't realize there was a Super. Is it Super Bowl tonight? Didn't realize it. I don't watch ball sports. Did I see Jill Biden, ex-husband, going to jail for deleting his wife? I did not see that. Could you help me out with it? You got a spaceman, you got a link you can drop me? That'd be cool. Oh, next Sunday? No, I am doing something next Sunday, but I don't know what it is. It's something my wife has planned. Any questions from the chat that I might be able to answer? If you haven't already, please subscribe to Gun Prattle. It's going to be some of the best gun content that I can provide, and maybe some of the best gun content out there at all, because it'll involve me. What's up? Yeah. I will have to edit this. So I'm going to have to do that later. And the edited version will be up on Gun Prattle TV. I'll have to edit out the parts where my computer was my program decided to not work properly, which is annoying to no end. I saw Grumple Stillskin came in. That was awesome. I hadn't seen that dude in a minute. Good to see that dude. Oxlink, former Jill Biden's ex-husband, current wife. I didn't realize that old Jill Biden. I did not realize that. Well, okay, all right. Very strange. I'll have to look. I'll have to read that. Smoking Spaceman. The cool sweatshirt that I'm wearing. So this is actually. Let me move the microphone out of the way here. So this is actually this is my shooting shirt. We used to call them the NASCAR shirts. This is actually the I've got 3 shirts and the sweatshirt as a deal. This is from Rogue. This is Rogue Tacticals, which you can't hardly see it, but that's a Rogue Tacticals logo. I think they're gone now. This is an old shirt. I'm out of sweatshirts. So the hat you can get at gunprattle.net. You can go there right this minute and buy this hat, which is the man card hat. The man card hat is wonderful. It's just wonderful. You just it's wonderful. So I'll throw the man card up there. It's not letting me make it like really super small. Yeah, it won't let me. Yeah, it won't let me do it. It won't let me actually show. Here, I'll just drop off for a second. There you go. There you go. And there's the man card patch that comes on the hat. The hat is for sale already. There are other hats, or the Grid One hat, which I also wear sometimes, and other assorted cool stuff. And yeah, got a lot. Go get your own hat. It'll be worth it. So, Mr. Boulay, if you'd like one of these sweatshirts, I'll see if I can get you one. But the back is actually cool. I don't know if you guys. I don't know. The back is cool. It's got the Rogue Tactical there. It's got the Punisher. It's got a Punisher skull, and then it has Latin. Victory loves preparation. Yeah, go get your merch. Go get your merch. Be cool. Be extra cool. So, yep. Dirty Crime Family does Dirty Crime Family things. That's right. The company that made this, Maxed, MAXT, I'm not sure they're around anymore, but I can check. If not, I think I have the artwork. I could have these made. Smoking Spaceman is a good philosophy. I don't wear clothes with logos unless I'm being paid to do so. That's the deal with this shirt. Rogue Limited 10 Rogue Tactical. They gave me, they supported me in some of my firearm building, and so I supported them slightly. Uh-oh, here we go again. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to update my Streamlabs, I guess. So I'll do that later. Is your American flag on the wall made out of metal. Yes, it's made out of 1/8 inch steel. It's a plasma cut. There's a local lady that has them cut for her on a plasma table, and then she hand paints them. So, yep, but it's steel. Yeah, it is. It's actually super nice. It's like super nice, and uh, if I I don't have her contact. I get asked about it all the time, and I could probably send her a ton of business, but I've lost her contact info, and I don't even know that she still does it. I've had it for 5 or 6 years. So, but yeah, it's a big old hunk of steel. It's heavy. That thing's like 30 pounds or 40 pounds. So it's a heavy piece. Yeah, probably 30 pounds. Well, anyway, what else we got to talk about, guys? The flag is legit. I need to work with the lighting still, but it's getting better. And that LED there says, "But did you die?" But it's too far away from the camera, so it's out of focus, and it's a little too out of focus. So I need to figure out what to do about that, or just get rid of it. I may just get rid of it. I don't really need it. So, but the orange there kind of turns the blue light that shines on it kind of a purplish color, which kind of works with the flag. So I'll have to figure something out. I really do appreciate Vic rating me. I'm sorry I wasn't able to tell him that during the show, because obviously when you're doing an interview like that, what the thing you're trying to do is pay attention to your guest, you know, and it's very important to do that. And so next week, I hope to have who's going to be on next week. Next week, I believe we've got I believe we're going to get an industry insider um, going on. I think that what we're going to do is we're going to have uh, we're going to have uh, probably I'm hoping to get the guy from Obsidian Arms. They build rifles and stuff. Hopefully, I can get him on. Not 100% on that. Um, but I'll let you guys know. So this time next week, we'll do another interview. It will be somebody cool, and that'll be awesome. If you guys have any ideas for guests, people that you would like to see, you are welcome to let me know who they are, because I'm certainly happy to do that. Certainly happy to do that very thing. What's up, Grumple Stillskin? How are you? I'm glad you're still here. So for us non-comp shooters, y'all were using a lot of acronyms and jargon, had me searching what those terms mean. Not sure what level of audience you're trying to bring in. Just a suggestion. Yeah, absolutely. I do that all the time. I apologize. USPSA is a United States Practical Shooting Association. Um, what other acronyms were jargon? So um, alphas are A zone hits, which is just a specific part on a target. Um, the There's what else? I don't know what other jargon I was using. I mean, I'm sure I was using some. So I'm happy to. That's a very solid point, smoking spaceman. What other jargon should I clarify? I'm happy to clarify anything. Rumpelstiltskin, you doing okay, buddy? I see you're living a dream, man. Yeah, 2 alphas, 2 A zone hits. That's the best score. PCC, pistol caliber carbine. Yes, I'm sorry. That was I did take that for granted. I should have definitely let you know about that. Um, so, yep. Basically, when you have in USPSA, the targets are scored according to hit factor. Hit factor is the amount of hits how well you score in a given period of time. So, and hit factor determines the overall winner. So you could have a very low time, but have a lot lower score and have a very low hit factor. I mean, a very high hit factor, which would be bad. So, or a low hit factor. So, and so that's, I guess that's kind of how that, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. I probably should explain it better, but I could probably explain that better. But the scoring is all based on hit factor, which is number of speeds and the shortest number of hits in the shortest amount of time. It is the most accurate way, honestly, of gauging lethality. So, pistol caliber carbine is, that's a pretty interesting thing. The um, Yeah, I don't know what else. Yeah, it all makes sense, right? All right, guys, I'm going to raid you over to OG. I didn't see anybody else on worth raiding, and we'll just raid into him. I've got to go pick my kids up from school. I don't think I have a stream scheduled for tonight. I think I'm taking the rest of the night off. I don't normally stream on Tuesdays at all, but with Kita, we just had to do it when she had time to do it, and so that's where we're at. We were supposed to do this last week, but she had some issues. She had some things going on with her daughter and needed to allow for that. At any rate, you guys have been great. Um, really appreciate all of the interaction. I appreciate super chats. I appreciate all of it. Um, the If you remember when I put the stream up, which I'll probably do tomorrow after I'm going to try and edit it tonight, or I'll edit it tomorrow morning when I put the stream up tomorrow around noon. Please come throw it a like, maybe give it a watch, feed in some watch hours, and also um, I may add in like what we're talking about, maybe a short intro with, hey, this in this video we're going to talk about this, and I'll have a picture of PCC carbine and all this other stuff. What's up, Avoided Hornet? We're just ending the show. I'm going to send you guys over to again OG, but this was a really good show. I know it's not my typical show, but I really liked it. Really had a good time. Don't think I'll be on again tonight. It is yeah, get you on, get it on the rewatch. You do watch the upload. I'll try to have it up tomorrow. Um, give it all the likes. I need to get the numbers up on this. I need to get more. I've got to have more people subscribing. I've got to have more watch hours. Got to get all of this stuff done. And so if you can feel free to spam once I have the final version up, feel free to spam that around. It is a good interview, and I'm going to be spamming it around tomorrow too. I will be on tomorrow around noon. I have something going on tomorrow around noon. I think I'll check my schedule. Actually, I can just do it right now. Let us see. Um, let me go here. Tomorrow night we have the Wednesday night show. I may have something tomorrow afternoon. I'm not really sure. Thursday we're debating over at Admiral Gibbs. We're gonna bring the heat. Bring in the heat. to Admiral Gibbs's panel. Friday night, we're going to do a chill stream. Leading into Saturday, we're doing the Signal Syndicate. That is we're bringing back the debate show. It's timed, it's judged, and you're going to have to know how to debate to carry the day. All right, guys, that is enough nonsense for me. That's enough prattle. Go hang out with OG. See you guys later. As always, be cool. Wear the glasses if you need them because they're important, and go stand on